Hello everyone again. Welcome to the second episode, the second CBG webinar with our guest, our very special guest, George Charalambides. Of course, there's myself as well, and our CCO Isabel, or Amanda, I should say, as well, joining us. And a quick bit of information about George. George Charalambides is an international consultant, the founder of Excess Strategy Consultants. And for over 25 years, I'm running on memory on that one, I think it's over 25 years, they have assisted companies to grow in 90 industries and 8 countries. Excessconsulting.com. So there you go. A little bit about CBG. Many of you know, but I'll go through it anyway. We are trying to focus now on establishing CBG as a business events ecosystem, whereby supporting 4 key pillars in that: people, brands, spaces, and of course, events. And as part of our support for events, which of course is a culmination of the previous 3 pillars, we're supporting events, community events, conference events, workshop events, and of course, festival events. And part of the communities that we're trying to support include Fires Club, Women in Tech, Red Diamond Business Club, which have an event coming up on the 27th of February, by the way, Business Society Accelerator, Growth Hacking Cyprus, and more. We've already reached out to a couple in the Emirates, and so there's going to be more news to follow on that point. In terms of the sponsors that we have lined up for this webinar, we've got, of course, ourselves, Bedrock, whereby we offer web design, social media management, etc., all to be replaced by AI. I've got no doubt, but we'll hear more about that in a minute. And of course, Lifestyle Magazine. And Amanda, the other Amanda, not the one that's joining us today, has kindly left us a video. I'm going to let that play now.
Hi, I'm Amanda Moss. I'm the owner of Lifestyle Magazine Cyprus and also Liverpool Lifestyle Magazine. I run many events as well. I've been doing the Lifestyle Awards in the UK for 16 years, as well as Liverpool Fashion Week. And in 2025, I'm going to bringing the Lifestyle Awards to Cyprus in November, where it's all about supporting small businesses and recognising their talents and success and celebrating it. So I'm going to do it at the end of the season in November. I also launched my first fashion show in Cyprus in September last year, and it was such a success that we're doing it again on the 3rd of May. Because I've run Liverpool Fashion Week for 15 years in the UK, I have got very strong ties with the British Fashion Council and fashion designers from all over the world. So when you work with Amanda Moss PR, you're working way more than just a magazine. It's way more than just being in print and being online and shared across multiple social media groups. I have a huge social media following. I have over 50,000 followers and a monthly engagement of 60,000 people. So I can get you to places where you might not be heard of, or you might not be noticed. So basically, Lifestyle Magazine Cyprus is way more than just a magazine. It's basically your full PR and marketing machine to help you make you memorable. Hope to see you soon.
Domi, you're mute.
We cannot hear you.
Domi, we can hear you. You're mute.
I just said so many cool things and no one heard it. I'm going to say it again. I was saying thank you to Amanda for sponsoring this CBG webinar through Lifestyle Magazine. Lifestyle Magazine are kindly giving away a full page in the next printed issue of the magazine. And if you stick around to the end, we're going to be picking one person out at random to win that prize. And also, we will, at the same time, we're going to be picking out an expert who will be presenting the next webinar. But with that being said, I don't want to waste any more time. George, I'm going to pass it over to you. Let me stop sharing. There we go. And yeah, thank you, George. Okay, now it's you who's muted.
Let me start sharing my screen. Okay. There you go. Can you all see the presentation? Okay, excellent. Thank you very much for participating in this webinar. I know the topic is very interesting and there are a lot of developments regarding artificial intelligence. And I will try to give you an outline of what's happening and how we can use artificial intelligence tools. The agenda for today's webinar is we'll talk a little bit about our company. We'll talk about how we help businesses grow, because part of the webinar is growing your business. And then the main part of the webinar will be the artificial intelligence technology, tools, and applications. Let's start with a few words about us. Exit Strategy Consultants is a consulting firm specializing in designing and implementing strategies for growth. Over the last 30 years, it's slightly higher than 25, Tom. We've helped hundreds of companies grow in 90 sectors and 12 countries, including the UK, Greece, Cyprus, and Egypt. So far, we've worked with more than 250 companies. We've prepared more than 100 strategic plans. We've trained more than 200 companies in our business growth methodology, and we've done more than 200 business appraisals. That's over the last 15 years that Exit Strategy Consultants is in existence. A few words about myself. I started my career with Ernst & Young in London in 1991. I trained initially as a chartered accountant, and then because I didn't like accounting that much, I moved to the consulting department, working on performance improvement projects. In those projects, you try to increase the company's revenues and you decrease the company's costs. I worked with companies like BP, the Insurance Market Lloyd's of London, Cadbury Schweppes, WH Smith, Clark Shoes, etc. Then I moved to Athens, working for PricewaterhouseCoopers, where I ran the strategy and organization department. And then I worked with companies like Athens International Airport, Titan Cement, Bacardi Martini, Tetra Pak, etc. Then I moved back to London because I like London very much. And I worked for a top 10 hospitality group. At the time, the group was had a turnover of 120 million. We grew the turnover to more than 500 million in 4 years, and we listed our aviation subsidiary at the London Stock Exchange. My next move was entrepreneurial. I started 3 companies. I sold one and I closed one. And then 14 years ago, I founded Exit Strategy Consultants. That's all very briefly. Now let's talk about growing companies. As we all know, 4 in 5 startups fail, unfortunately, and many more companies fail in their first 10 years. So 4 in 5 fail in the first 5 years and many more in the first 10 years. But we also know that legacy companies fail as well. We all know Lehman Brothers, Kodak, Blockbuster, and other companies. So for a while I was pondering, why do so many companies close? And the answer came by the late Peter Drucker, the father of modern management. Mr. Drucker said that we live in the era of the 3 C's. We live in the era of accelerated change. The business environment is changing very rapidly. Overwhelming complexity. The business world is becoming more complex and AI increases the complexity. And we live in the era of tremendous competition. The business environment is becoming more and more competitive. That's why it's difficult for the companies to survive and prosper. Now, large multinational companies have their own universities or academies where they teach their staff about business and their business philosophy. McDonald's has Hamburger University. Apple has Apple University in California, set up by Steve Jobs. And the big consulting firms like PwC have their academies all over the world. However, small and medium-sized companies do not have their own philosophy and their own business methodology. And this is the void we like to fill with our own methodology. It took us 30 years to create this circle. And this is, in very simple terms, our growth methodology. What the methodology is saying is that small and medium-sized companies are made up of 12 pillars. There are 4 pillars for growth: strategy, sales, marketing, and finance. And there are 8 pillars for organization, starting from operations, people, leadership, structure, processes, purchases, technology, of course, and continuous improvement. Now, as companies grow, at some point they become large. And the EU definition of a large company is a company of 250 people. When you become a large company, you have 4 additional growth pillars. You have new market entry, entering new countries. You have large-scale investments of 10, 50, 100 million. You have mergers and acquisitions. Then you have strategic alliances, like the alliance between Apple and Foxconn, which manufactures most of the iPhones. This is in very simple terms our methodology. So if you need to grow your business, you need to focus on the first 4 pillars: strategy, sales, marketing, and finance. Now, to assist companies to implement this methodology, we have created a number of workbooks, and these workbooks help companies implement our methodology. For the participants of the webinar, I have a small free gift. We have created a business assessment whereby businesses can do a self-assessment and get a free report about how well they scored in every single one area out of the 12 main areas. So if you want, take a picture of this slide, and when you have 4 or 5 minutes available, feel free to complete the evaluation and you'll get a report via email automatically. This is a tool that uses AI to create the scoring as well. It's called ScoreUp. Now, it took us a long time to create our methodology, but 2 years ago, OpenAI released ChatGPT, and we quickly realized that we had to incorporate AI tools into our methodology. So we spent hundreds of hours over the last couple of years to incorporate these tools into our methodology. So now we're talking about AI-enabled business growth. And let's talk more about AI, which is the main topic of today's webinar. What is AI? Artificial intelligence is the simulation of human intelligence by machines. So when you talk to the machine, it's like, but not really the same, as talking to a person. The machines use technology like deep learning, robotics, and natural language processing to provide answers and interact with the human who poses questions and gives instructions. The main tools that we use to access this technology are called large language models, or LLMs. These models are advanced AI algorithms trained on huge amounts of data. Just to put this into perspective, an average human reads about 8 billion words during his lifetime or her lifetime. These LLMs can read 8 billion words in 40 minutes. Now imagine that these tools are trained for years before they're released to the public. So you can imagine the kind of data that they go through in order to become intelligent models. The main and the best known LLMs are ChatGPT by OpenAI, Gemini by Google, and Claude by Anthropic. Over the last few weeks, there has been a lot of noise and a lot of news coverage of DeepSeek, which is a new LLM from China. What makes DeepSeek so unique is that DeepSeek has equal performance in many respects to the large LLMs. However, it took only a fraction of the cost to develop the model. It cost, I believe, around $100 million to develop DeepSeek, whereas ChatGPT and the other large LLMs cost many billions. So this AI world is changing all the times. Things are happening very, very fast. Of course, we have a number of other LLMs, and I give here some examples. We've got Llama by Meta, which is open source, Palm 2 by Google, and Orca by Microsoft. What are the basic uses of these models? According to Google, there are 7 basic uses of these models. We use AI for content creation, writing blogs, or creating summaries, summarization of big documents, to classify information, make it more understandable, to extract data from the web or from documents, to translate documents between different languages, for editing text or even pictures, and then problem solving. These are the 7 basic uses of AI. Now, it's very important to stress that this technology has very important limitations. The first one is hallucinations, which means that the model or the bot provides the wrong answer. And many times these bots manufacture their own data to become more persuasive. So it's very important to bear that in mind when we assess the reply of a model to an instruction that we gave to that model. The second limitation is data. Depending on the quality of the data that these models are trained on, they come out with a similar quality answer as well. So if the data that you train a model are not very good or are corrupt, then you will not get a good answer out of using the LLM. A third issue is data privacy. These models are built on data available throughout the internet. However, these models do not adhere to strict privacy rules like GDPR or similar regulations in other countries. The fourth limitation here is a black box reply. So the model gives you an answer, but it does not give you information so that you can understand how it derived that answer. So you need to assess the answer to make sure that it's the correct answer and that the outcome is what you really want. The final important limitation is intellectual property. These models are trained in books, pictures, songs, etc. that belong to some people. However, they do not pay any royalties or IP rights. And in the US, there are some class actions now by book authors towards these companies because the models use their books and they pay no fees. Now let's talk about prompt engineering. In very simple terms, prompt engineering is the process of designing and optimizing instructions. This is how we instruct the model to give us an answer. And it's important to understand how we need to structure a prompt. And as far as we're concerned, we use the recommended prompt structure by Google. So when you give a prompt, you need to address these 4 areas. You need to provide a persona. So we tell to the model, act as a marketing manager or act as a medical doctor. You need to give it a task to do, prepare a business plan or a marketing plan or a blog post. You need to give it a context. You work in a hospital in London and you need to diagnose a client, an illness. And then you need to give the model the format of the reply. I'll give you an example. You all know Atlantica Hotels here in Cyprus, the largest hotel chain in Cyprus. An example prompt is the following. You are the marketing manager of Atlantica Hotels in Cyprus. Prepare an outline of the marketing plan for the second quarter of 2025 to be approved by the general manager. Limit to bullet points. This is the kind of structure we want to get the right output out of the model. And what's also very important to understand, a lot of people say that these models do not give us high quality replies. However, to get a high quality reply, you need to be very specific in your prompt or instruction. And this is a real life example from X strategy. A few months back, last July and last October, we ran 2 full-day workshops for our clients on how to implement AI tools in their businesses. When I started designing the workshop, I used a general prompt like the one you see on your left. Provide the outline of a short course on AI for business. So as you would expect, the bot gave me a very general reply I was not very happy with. So I took some time, I restructured my prompt, my instruction, and I gave a different and a more specific instruction. The instruction went like this: act as an AI expert. You want to create a one-day course on AI for business people. The areas that will be addressed are personal productivity, business strategy, sales, marketing, and finance. Provide an outline for the course with a short description of each area. Also, provide a short description of the tools included in the course. So this more structured prompt gave me a much better answer, and I was able to use some of the contents of that reply in designing the AI course. And this is what you should be doing as well when you prompt these models. Some recommendations for effective prompting. First, I would recommend that if you're new to this technology, try to select one tool and learn and understand that tool very well. All tools have their strengths and they have their weaknesses. For example, we were talking about DeepSeek a few minutes ago. I tried DeepSeek a few times and I got very good replies. However, when I asked DeepSeek to translate the reply to Greek, the outcome was very poor. So I know that I will not be using DeepSeek for translation purposes. The second recommendation is that you have to be clear and specific. The clearer you are and the more specific you are, the better the quality of the outcome, like the example I gave before. Also, always provide content and use example where possible. Finally, repeat the instructions and improve your instructions towards the model. Try to be creative and have a chat with the model to help it improve the output. These are my 4 recommendations for effective prompting. An important point here is human in the loop. No matter how good these models are, they do not provide the perfect answer. So in my mind, I always think that this model will give me 70% of what I'm looking for. The other 30% is the work I have to do myself. By getting 70%, you save a lot of time and you save a lot of money. But you need to put the effort to assess the reply of the model and improve it. Never take for granted the reply you get from the model. We see a lot of rookie mistakes online in the last couple of years. A lot of people take a blog post from a tool like ChatGPT and they post it on their Facebook page or LinkedIn page. For most people, it's obvious that the blog post was created by AI. And if you use this type of thinking, you will do damage to your own brand. You need to be able to give your input and improve the output of the model as well. Make it more human, make it more yourself. So always bear in mind, we need to have a human in the loop. Now, let's talk about AI tools. We talked about the large LLMs, but there's a plethora of AI tools available. There are 2 types of tools in general. There are standalone tools, which are based exclusively on AI, and there are about 30,000 of them. Most of them were created over the last 2 years. And there are integrated tools, which are existing software that incorporate AI. And here you have the large ERPs, enterprise resource planning programs like Oracle, SAP, and Priority. and you have the large CRMs like HubSpot, Zoho, and Salesforce. Just to give you an idea, I would like to go to the page I recommended before. There's an IAE for that, and give you an idea of what this page looks like. You can use this page to identify AI tools that are useful for your business. What you can see here is that there are now more than 30,500 AI tools, and those tools perform around 16,000 tasks, and they're relevant to around 5,000 jobs. Okay, so I recommend you using this site to identify new tools and the best tools for every task that you want to use AI in. Can you all see the screen that I've shared? Okay, beautiful. Let's get back to our presentation. Now, there are different types of AI tools. We've seen before the large LLMs, so we've got text-to-text AI models. You have a very large number of other text-to-text tools, and here I single out Perplexity. Perplexity is an excellent search engine, a rival to Google, but using AI and providing very good results. Also, we have other text-to-text tools that specialize in the area of marketing, like Kobe AI and Jasper. We do not have time to go through these tools, so I'm just mentioning them. If you want, take a photo of your screen, and you can try these tools in your own time. We also have text-to-image tools, and we have DALL-E by OpenAI, the little brother of ChatGPT. We have Leonardo, and we have Midjourney. Text-to-audio tools, we have 11 Labs, which is very good in audio terms, and we've got Suno for writing music. You can compose your own music using the free version of Suno. Also, we have a large number of text-to-video tools, and these are some of the tools we've used in the past. We've got HeyGen, Synthesia, and Pictory. There's also InVideo and a number of others. And we've got Sora at the beta stage. Sora is a tool by OpenAI, which has not been released yet for public use. In addition, we have workflow tools which act like personal assistants, like Harpa and Max AI. And finally, we have agents. Agents are software that use a number of AI tools to prepare an outcome. We've used in the past Agent.ai and Deal AI. Deal AI is a closed platform for subscribers. Agent AI is an open platform. And it has been created by one of the founders of HubSpot. I think his name is Harmesh. Okay, these are some of the types of AI tools you find available. Now, what are the application areas of artificial intelligence? Artificial intelligence is almost everywhere. We can use AI tools for product companies and service companies. In the first days of AI, we heard from factory owners that AI is not for me because I manufacture products. However, AI is everywhere. You can use it in many aspects of your business, even in production nowadays. We can also use AI for health. AI assists scientists to decode and improve human DNA. We have used AI in transportation. In the US, there's a taxi company called Waymo. Waymo uses driverless cars to transport passengers like taxis. I've shown you before how we can use AI for education and create new courses, and we can also use AI for leisure. It can help you plan your trips, and give you tips at places to visit, etc. Now, in order to understand how strong and powerful these models are, I'll give you an example from the medical exams in the US. Now, to become a doctor in the US, you need to pass the final medical exams with a grade of 60% plus. These powerful elements have given the final doctor's exams, and the scores they have achieved are on your screen. ChatGPT 4o got a score of 98%, which is exceptionally high. Claude 3.5 got a score of 90%. Gemini Advanced by Google got 86%, and Grok by X, previously Twitter, got 84%. So you can see that these models are very powerful. However, I do not recommend using AI as your doctor. Always go to your doctor, but you can get a lot of useful information, medical information, by using these tools. Also, what we have here is Aitana Lopez. Aitana is an influencer living in Barcelona, and she makes about 11,000 euros per month. What's extraordinary about this young lady is that she does not exist. She's an AI invention created by a digital agency, and the digital agency managed to generate a lot of money by using and promoting Aitana. So we're living in a very different world than the world we're used to over the last few years. And Aitana is a good example. Now you have a number of models created by AI. You have fashion awards by AI, etc. Now let's move on and talk about productivity. How do we use AI tools to improve our productivity? We can use AI tools for data analysis. We can use them for market research. We can use them to write emails and reply to emails. We can create pictures or video, and we can use AI to generate ideas. And let's have a look at a few examples. One of the things we can use AI tools is to summarize reports. And I'm going back to ChatGPT. I'm uploading a report from my computer. Let's see, I need to change this. We'll put the core somewhere here. So what I'm uploading now is the report of the Cyprus Central Bank for 2023. The report is 78 pages long, and it may not be your cup of cake reading long technical reports. So instead of reading the report, I go to ChatGPT and I ask ChatGPT to summarize the report. And instead of spending a couple of hours to go through the report, ChatGPT gives me the summary of the report. In the same way, when you have large files or large PDFs, you can upload them to the LLM, ChatGPT, or whichever LLM you're using, and ask it to summarize the report. And the prompt is very simple. Summarize the key points from this report. Also, you can use these tools to be more creative. What I would like to do now is ask DALL-E to create an image of a business professional, which I want to use for a blog post. So I go again to ChatGPT. I go here and select DALL-E, and I give my prompt. And you see, DALL-E now is starting to create a couple of images for me to select. Let's look at the prompt once again. create an image of business professionals attending a course on AI. The attendees are sitting around the table and the instructor shares some slides about AI. And here you have two nice pictures created by DALI. During today's webinar, you can try, as I speak, to use these models and give your own instructions, because all of these have applications for every business. Moving back to our presentation, we'll talk about how we can use AI for strategy. Now, before we look into the prompts, we need to make sure we understand what strategy is. And we all know that strategy effectively is the long-term planning of a business. For us at Access, strategy answers three basic questions. How is the company positioned now, externally, compared to its competitors, the market and its customers, and internally, using our 12 pillars? That's the first question. The second question is, what does the company like to achieve? What does the company like to be in the next 3, 5, or even 10 years? And the final question is, how and when the company will reach its goal. So we need to have an action plan and a timetable to achieve our goals. These, for us, are the three main strategy questions. Unfortunately, what we see with many companies is that 9 out of 10 companies do not have a clear strategy. And if you do not have a clear strategy, you're like a boat in turbulent waters without a rudder. You do not know where your business or your boat will end up. So strategy is very important, and we can use AI tools to craft and develop our own strategy. At Access, we use a 6-step framework for developing business strategy. We first assess the current position and condition of the company. We call that current state assessment. We assess the environment, we run a business diagnostic, and we prepare SWOT analysis. And then we design the future. We consider what our strategic options are, we set targets, and we create a strategic action plan. That's the future state design. And we can use AI to do this analysis. An example here, the example for strategy is the food and beverage giant Nestle. We copy this prompt, and this prompt says, prepare a 500 word profile of Nestle by reviewing their website at www.nestle.com. And we go to our LLM, to our bot. We click search to allow the model to search the web, and we copy our command, our instruction. And the outcome only takes a couple of minutes, and this is a huge company. A few words about Nestle: historical evolution, global presence, product portfolio, leadership and governance, purpose and values. And you see a fairly good summary of Nestle in a matter of minutes. Then we can ask our model again to prepare SWOT analysis. So go back to the model, and we ask you to create an analysis. You can use the same process to create an analysis and a profile for your own company as well, using these very simple prompts. Here we see the strengths of Nestle. Then we have the weaknesses, the opportunities, and finally the threats. So ChatGPT, in a matter of minutes, creates a SWOT analysis for us. This, of course, we need to work on, always have a human in the loop. And then we can use our tool to create a vision, a mission, and values for the company. So we'll go to ChatGPT and give it the prompt, search the site of Nestle to understand their business, recommend a vision, mission, and values for this company. ChatGPT is very good at taking data from the Nestle site and the web and transforming it into a vision, mission, and values. I'm sure that somewhere the information is available and ChatGPT put the information together. This is all about strategy. Let's move on to sales. How can we use these models to increase our sales and organize our sales? And when it comes to sales, at Access we have a 4-area or sector understanding of sales. The first sector of sales is to develop a sales strategy for the next 1, 2, or 3 years. Then we need to organize the sales department. We need to have an organizational chart, descriptions, job descriptions, policies and procedures. We need to be able to manage our existing clients, and we need to have a policy on how to manage the clients, and we need to attract new clients. These are the 4 sectors of sales. And we can use ChatGPT to assist us. The example here for sales is Namos restaurant in Mykonos. I'm sure most of you have heard of it. It was a client of ours a few years back. And we will go back to ChatGPT, create a new chat, and ask ChatGPT to recommend the structure for our sales department, assuming that there will be a manager and 3 salespeople running the sales department. So ChatGPT is searching the web and the site of Namos Mykonos, and it recommends a structure for the department as well as job descriptions. So in a matter of minutes, we can organize our sales department. Another instruction we can give to the model relates to our existing customers. It's very important to assess our customers, our good customers, every year to evaluate them. So we can ask ChatGPT in this case, we ask ChatGPT, recommend the contents of the annual client assessment form for category A, that is large clients. Then prepare the client assessment in a table format for ease of use. We give this instruction to ChatGPT, and we have the analysis in a bullet point form. And then following our instructions, ChatGPT prepares the assessment in a table format, which you can copy paste in a Word document and use to assess our top clients. And we can share this assessment with our clients to get them to give us even more work. Here is the assessment. You can actually see it here if you scroll down. And we can also use AI to assist us in selecting target clients. A company like Namos has a very huge potential clientele. So to be effective, we need to be able to narrow the prospect list of our potential clients. So we ask ChatGPT, your client, which is Namos Mykonos, would like to acquire a new customer. Identify the main criteria to be used in making this selection. We give that prompt to ChatGPT, and ChatGPT gives us the criteria we can use to select leads and potential customers. Of course, at the very beginning, it says select high net worth individuals and corporate clients. And you see those criteria. Going back to our presentation, we move on to marketing. Probably Tom's and Lisa's favorite subject. Now, marketing has two main objectives: to create a strong brand for the business and its products, branding, and to activate sales activations. And companies need to find the right balance in their marketing activities. So we can use, in this example, we'll be using a small chain of gyms in Thessaloniki, Greece, called Elixir Studios. So we go back to ChatGPT and we ask it the following, we give it the following instruction. Act as a marketing consultant. Your client is a gym chain based in Thessaloniki, Greece. Review their website at elixirstudio.gr and recommend 5 topics for a blog post. We open the search. And ChatGPT is now reviewing the website of Elixir Studio, and it's recommending us 5 topics for blog posts. Innovative approaches to personalized fitness, the role of mindfulness in modern fitness regimens, etc. Then we can ask it to be more specific. We can ask the model to provide us with 5 headlines and sub-headlines for a post explaining the benefits of having a gym membership. As we all know, headlines and sub-headlines are very important in marketing, because if your headline is not very good, you will not be getting any traction with your post. So some of the recommendations are here. Unlock your best self, the life-changing benefits of a gym membership. More than just a workout, how a gym membership transforms your lifestyle, etc. So we have the headlines. We can now select a headline, and in this example, we select headline number 1, and we ask ChatGPT to prepare a 300-word blog on the benefits of having a gym membership. So here you get your blog post as well. Now, we saw before how to create a picture using DALL-E. Now, ChatGPT has created the blog post. So by combining the two, we can have a blog post, and we can purpose it to other social media as well, like Facebook, LinkedIn, etc. This is an example of how we can use AI to improve our marketing. Our next section is finance, not everybody's favorite subject. And in our methodology, finance is made up of 4 sectors. We have accounting work, which is data entry, paying taxes, issuing invoices, etc. We have finance for decision support, which includes monthly management reports, costing, budgeting, etc. We have financial control and internal audit, and we have financing, raising finance from either banks, investors, government schemes like grants, etc. And we can use this model to assist us here as well. The example here that we're going to use is a stationery company, an importer and seller of stationery supplies. So we'll go back to our model, we'll create a new chat, and we ask the model to recommend an organizational structure for our finance department. And like before, we ask the model to prepare job descriptions. Here we go. We have the recommended structure. And the job descriptions follow. So now we've organized our finance function. Then we can ask ChatGPT to give us ideas about improving our liquidity. So go to ChatGPT and ask ChatGPT to recommend actions that will allow us to get paid by our clients in a timely manner. And again, ChatGPT gives us 5 ways to allow us to get paid on time. It seems there's a bit of an overload for ChatGPT, and it's delaying its reply. However, I've tried this before, and the answers are quite good. We got stuck. So let's go back to a previous example. I was practicing before, and we have the 5 actions here: implement a clear credit policy and strengthen credit control, issue invoices promptly and improve invoice clarity, etc. Excuse me. So we have 5 ways that will help us improve our liquidity. Then we move on, and our next section will be about discussing AI implementation. Now, if you want to implement AI in your business, we recommend a 6-step process. The first step is to analyze the workload of the department of the company. Identify where you spend most of your time. For example, if the staff of a marketing department spend 40 hours a month writing blog posts, then you can set a target and say, we want to reduce that time from 40 hours a month to only 20. So we have our target. We select our tool. Our tool can be ChatGPT, or it can be a specialized tool like Copy AI or Jasper. We can train our staff to use those tools and then implement those tools. In parallel, we assess the performance of the staff and we improve this process. This is a 6-step process everybody can use to implement AI. This process is similar but not the same to installing a new software or a full ERP. Now, what's happening in Cyprus? How are Cypriot companies adopting AI? In general, in Cyprus, companies are late adopters in terms of technology. However, over the last few months, we saw that a lot of companies are beginning to use AI tools on an everyday basis. We know from our clients that companies use LLMs to write and respond to emails. We see that a lot of companies are using these tools for content creation. We've seen companies use LLMs and Perplexity in particular for research. And also Asia is becoming popular for digital agencies to create video. A lot of technology companies are using LLMs to help them write code. We have new tools assisting accountants for data entry like Docker and Odoo. And we've seen tools like Tableau and Power BI to be used for dashboards and for sales management. Also in Cyprus, we have a few incubators, and we had the chance last year to work with 3 startups from science. MammoCheck is an AI tool that allows women to detect breast cancer early by taking a picture of their breast, and by using special camera and software, it will allow them to detect cancer. Footerloo is another AI tool that allows restaurants, supermarkets, and bakeries to donate surplus food to charity. And Census is another startup that allows you to correct your posture and recommends exercises for you to improve your posture. very useful for athletes, musicians, etc. So the AI scene in Cyprus is growing at a rapid pace. Now, where are we heading? Peter Diamandis is a medical doctor. He used to work for NASA, and he's also a technology entrepreneur. And he says that by the end of the decade, there will be two types of businesses. Excuse me. Those companies that fully use AI and those companies that are out of business. And I believe he is very correct. Now, what I would like to talk about before closing is we have created a new program, a new version of our old Inner Circle program for new businesses. We are offering this new program. It's a 12-week live online program whereby we teach businesses on how to use our growth methodology in combination with AI tools. There will be 8 group training sessions and 4 individual consulting sessions, and we'll cover the areas of business assessment, strategy, sales, marketing, finance, and artificial intelligence. There will be a number of deliverables like the business diagnostics, strategic plans, sales plans, marketing plans, financial plans, the plan to grow the business to 1 million, and an AI prompt book as well. There are lots of benefits to attending this program, and this group coaching program is especially for small business owners. The starting date has not been set yet, but it will be in March 2025. So, closing, you can find my contact information on your screen. If you want to talk about anything, feel free to send me an email, give me a call, or contact me via LinkedIn. I believe that now we have a bit of time for Q&A. And that's all from me for now. Thank you very much for attending this webinar. And I'm at your disposal for any questions you may have.
I think I can speak for everyone and say that was incredible, George. Thank you for that. It was so insightful. I've definitely got a bunch. I warned you at the start. I'm going to have loads of questions on this, but I'm not going to go first. I refuse to go first on this one. I'm sure someone else has a question. Who would like to go first?
Can I say something, Tom? I'm sorry.
No, please.
I have a lot of questions, but I have a problem with my laptop and I'm running out of battery. It's going to close very soon. So I will watch the repeat. I want to thank George. This was incredible. It's going to take me a while to digest it, and there will be a lot more questions, but I will have to go. It will make me go.
Okay, that's the whole idea. I want people to feel familiar with these models and use the tools because they're very powerful.
Yeah. Thank you so much. This was great.
Thank you very much, Elizabeth. Enjoy your trip.
Soon, Tom. Bye. It's closing.
Bye. Oh, there you go. Right. Bye, Elizabeth. There she goes. Okay. Oh, Maria, you got a question?
Yes.
Awesome.
Yes. Hello. Thank you, George. Thank you very much for your presentation. Very insightful. I would like to ask you to refer to the hallucinations you said before. I didn't get exactly what was the point on that. Can you please explain?
Yes, of course. Hallucinations are, many times the models provide the wrong answer. For example, I asked the model to provide me with recommended marketing actions for a consulting company based in Cyprus. And in the reply, it gave me examples of marketing actions for a consulting company in New York. Now, New York, 12 million, Cyprus, 1 million, not really relevant. So a lot of times these models make up their own stories. And the answers are not always correct. So as a human, that's why we said human in the loop. We need to assess the answer. We need to review the answer and make sure that it's relevant to us. Don't forget that these models are trained on data that come primarily from very large countries. there is not much data available for Cyprus or Greece or Lebanon. There's lots of data coming from the US, from France, Germany, or the UK.
Okay. So is there a way to minimize the risk of
Well, what we've seen over the last couple of years is that I would say the rating of the answers 2 years ago was probably around 50%. The 50% has become closer to 70%. So these models are improving very rapidly. However, we need to be able to assess the replies. One of the tricks, if you want, that I use is whenever I get a reply which I'm not sure whether it's correct or not, I ask the model to state its sources.
Okay.
And for example, when I've asked the model in another example to state its sources, it was obvious to me that the source of the reply was a factory in China. Again, not very relevant to the context of one of my clients, which runs a food factory here in Cyprus.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. Thank you.
You're welcome, Maria. Thank you for your kind words.
I'm gonna ask one question. All right. So with AI agents, that I've been obsessed with learning more about AI agents as they come in.
Same
I'm curious.
here.
Oh, there you go. That's good to know. There you go. With AI agents and the way that we will soon be using AI agents, I think it's unavoidable. What concerns might you have when it comes to data and data security? Because we would essentially be giving access to these AI agents, to our emails, to our contacts, finances, etc. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, my thoughts at this point in time, we need to give limited access, or we need to control the access, because there are still data security issues. Do you guys have a minute? I can show you what an AI agent is. I'll go to a site. I'll share my screen again. Am I sharing? Can you see my screen? Can you guys see my screen?
Yes, yes.
Okay, good. Go to. That's it. It's not agents today. It's simple AI. Let me find. Okay, here we go. This is the site that was developed by the founder of HubSpot. His name is Harmesh here. And what you have is a number of tools that work together to produce an outcome. For example, if we want information about the company, we can use this agent here. It gives you a lot of free credits. You don't have to pay anything to use these tools initially to find information about the company. They have other agents that do different things. There are a few hundred agents here. If you want to create your ideal customer profile, you can use this agent here. You can use the DISC methodology to assess an executive. These are models that we use to assess people. Okay, so this is an agent platform. I would highly recommend that you spend some time playing with the tools here. Get registered, it's free. Use a couple of tools and see how it works. These agents use more than one AI tool to provide an outcome. Okay. However, on the privacy side, Tom, excuse me again, my cold is still here. On the privacy side, I would be very hesitant. I never use these models with client data or my company's data. If you use data, erase all names or change the numbers or do something similar. I've actually asked ChatGPT on the privacy issue just before joining in. I had a bit of time to spend, and let's see. Data privacy. I've asked ChatGPT, I'm very worried about data privacy. How can I keep my data private in ChatGPT? And ChatGPT gave me ideas on how to keep data privacy. And I think you can ask the same question and you get a good answer out of the model on how you can keep your data more private. There is a function called temporary search. I think you find it here. Here you see a button called temporary chat. Can you all see it? Okay. This is like the incognito mode of Google, which means that it does not share the data that you give there, and it's a more private function. However, it's not 100% privacy proof. So you can use that if you use sensitive data so that the model does not use that data to train itself. Is that okay, Tom?
Absolutely, yeah. I didn't actually know
Okay.
about that feature on ChatGPT. I
It's a
appreciate
new
that.
feature, yes.
Okay, fair play. I do have another question, but does anyone else have a question before I pester George a little bit more? No?
No, go ahead.
So George, I'm going to pester you
I
one more
think you can
time.
carry on.
Okay, great. So,
Hello, Isa and baby.
Hello, hello, all good.
Sienna. Oh. Right. So another question about the AI agents is so it's interesting, Dharmesh, you've shown agent.ai. Dharmesh, he did HubSpot, and the way that he has structured agent.ai is very similar to the way that they have structured HubSpot with the tokenization. One action equals one token, for example. I thought that was really interesting. I hadn't thought of that until I saw agent.ai, but it did get me thinking that when you break it down, there are a series of one task is made up of sub-series of tasks, if that makes sense. To open up an email, you have to open up the browser, then you have to open up Gmail, then you blah, blah, blah. And I'm curious, right now we're seeing AI agents in its broken down form for obvious reasons. It's still being developed. But once the ball is rolling and it's able to do all of the things that we can with a computer, at the very least, and as well bearing in mind that we've got these AI models of sorts on Instagram, I'm curious what jobs, if any, do you think would be safe from the AI revolution in terms of AI agents?
Okay, I get that question a lot. A few years back, when we were discussing about AI, we thought that the blue collar jobs would be the ones to go first because we consider them simpler. However, when ChatGPT was released, we saw that white collar jobs were the ones that were being replaced. However, I'm a firm believer of what a lot of people say, which is you're not going to lose your job to AI, but you may lose your job to another human that uses AI tools very well. So I would strongly recommend everybody to start using these tools because this technology is moving very, very fast. I cannot keep up with all the developments. It's impossible. There are 30,000 AI tools. I may have used over the last 2 years, maybe a couple of hundred, maybe 150. There's still a huge amount of tools to use and understand. So I don't know what is safe, but I do know that my job as a consultant has changed and will change considerably in the next 2 to 3 years. And unless I'm AI aware and a good and the power user of AI, I may be out of a job. That's my understanding.
I completely get you. And yeah, it is moving so fast. It's incredible. And it's only going to get faster, I imagine, you know, given that it is technology after all. But no, I have thoroughly enjoyed all of this, George. I'm very grateful. I don't know if there are any other questions. Anyone have anything they want to ask George before we finish this? No? George, thank you. Before we all go, I think we're going to pick out the winners, Izzo, right? Oh, no, let's do that, please. Yeah, George, that was incredible. A round of applause for George. That was incredible.
Awesome. Woo!
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank
That
you
was
very
very
much.
great.
I love
Thank
it.
you.
Now,
It was a
before we-
pleasure.
Fantastic. Before we finish, Izzo, we're going to pick out the next webinar guest, or we do lifestyle first?
Casimir and Elizabeth was here, so I put them in the jar because they left the last minute.
Okay, fair play.
So the winner is Fireflies. Is here connected.
AI got the job. AI got the job.
Okay.
Hey guy, AI
Isa,
got
it's
the.
an AI tool I use to
There you go.
transcribe webinars.
The AI won. Okay.
AI, one of the humans.
It's already
Okay.
started.
Another human then. Intuitive wellness.
Oh, Luca.
Yeah!
Hey!
Excellent.
You are the winner for the Lifestyle Magazine.
Oh my God.
Page.
Awesome.
Sorry.
So it's worth it to show up eventually.
There you go. Yeah, that's awesome.
Congratulations.
And which expert are we going to be featuring?
Congratulations.
Congrats.
And the next premium member that we will ask to share their knowledge with us. Sorry about the coffee. It will be Clementine. Yay!
Yes, nice one.
Go Clementine.
Clementine, lovely. We'll have to let her know after this. George, thank you again. This was really interesting. I'm
Thank
looking
you,
forward to sharing
George.
this on
Thank
YouTube
you
you
so
all.
much. It was
Thank you so much,
incredible.
George.
It was a pleasure.
Brilliant.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
everyone. Have a great
Thank
evening.
you.
Thank
Good
you for
night.
coming. Good night, everyone.
Bye.
Bye-bye.